I might be live. Am I live? Am I alive? Why are you not showing up on my YouTube? Oh, okay. I think I'm live. Am I live? Yeah, I'm live. Okay, I'm live. Let me put the okay. Um, put the link. I'm gonna put it on Twitter. That's all I need. Live now. Come and chat if you want to. I feel like the Peanuts girl where she hangs out that sign for psychiatry advice or something. Come and see me if you want to talk. Okay. Good, happy Sunday. I hope you had a good one. If you just got back from church, I hope that was good. Uh, okay, I'm here. As usual, we have the puzzle and Twitter. God dang it, I hate this extended screen. Jerks with me so much. Okay. I guess let's take a look at Twitter first. Yes, it's being live streamed. I got it. Okay. The lighting is really bad today, and I don't know why. It's like a light bulb was burnt out, except they're not. I need to get better lighting. Twitter. Okay, let's just see what's going on with Twitter. Turn him off. Stop hiring disgraced woke activists who got removed from other districts they destroyed. Yeah, I think they do it to avoid lawsuits. Like, I read the history of workplace discrimination. There's a few scholarly studies of it online, and it started with like in the wake of the '60s and integration and like how to integrate more minorities into the workforce. And some of it was sensible in the beginning, but then it kept iterating with each new generation or so, and it's just ridiculous now. And it's become infested with ideology. So it's not just about how do we make the workplace work effectively. It's a political project at this point. And the companies are bending over for it because they're scared of the mob and getting sued and bad press. And the age of social media, you can go online and take a hit at a company's reputation just if you know how to tweet well enough or make a TikTok or Facebook post. Okay, I don't see much on this list. I've never been one to capitulate to the mob. The mob's never had any effect on me. I've been at the mercy of it more or less my whole life in one context or another. It doesn't have the power you think it has. Stand your ground, keep to your values. People are going to respect that. I do know that some people have kids and families and stuff like that, but even then, there are other sources of income out there. I mean, why would you want to work in a workplace anyway that you have to go along with stuff that you don't believe in or is against your values? I don't know. We all make compromises, I guess. I try not to. I try to make as few as possible. And I try to make them on my terms and keep them still aligned with my values. But I guess I understand why Some people do it, but it's not helping things. Ooh, founding of the Satanic Temple. Their secrets revealed. I feel like I'm reading tabloids to y'all. Let me find some interesting news. Ooh, yikes. What are these? Okay, nothing there. I'm going to venture into the homepage. I rarely go there because there's all kind of one of the biggest barriers is accepting it. Whatever. It's gender gibberish and glorious technology. What's the gibberish? Oh, God. Ooh, Lord. Jesus. Just when you think they can't fuck up the flag anymore than they already have. What is that, intersex? Oh, y'all. I feel sorry for these children. This is not creative. This is not aesthetic. And they're gonna just keep like glopping more stuff onto it. I can't even stand to look at it. I'm sorry to have inflicted that on y'all. Oh God, when is this gonna end? it's a wave, and at some point it should subside or reverse. It shouldn't just keep being one monstrosity after another after another. I'm not even just talking about the flag. Like, look, stuff like this. Don't stop undressing. That's transphobic. Back in my day, which really was not that long ago, trans people knew that they were trans. They didn't try to pretend like they were never their biological sex. Like they lived in reality. They didn't try to gaslight. Their psyches could handle the knowledge that they were once male and transitioned to female. I don't know what the pretend is, and the fragility around acknowledging your biological reality, even if you transition from it at some point. But then we're talking about a generation that they have more issues around that than just transitioning, fragility in general, and lack of resilience. Okay, well, Twitter is not exciting me today, which is probably a good thing. This is, though. Let me go back to the puzzle. So, y'all, as y'all probably know, I had a guest yesterday, a guy from Norway, who talked about kind of the political system in Norway, the educational system, a little bit about his own plans for the future, and it was very refreshing and stimulating conversation. That was my first guest on this new channel, at least, and I was very appreciative to have him. It was such a pleasure. So if y'all want to be a guest too, y'all could do this, have the same experience, or give me that experience. My channel's pretty open. It's not really themed a particular way, so we could talk about whatever's on your mind, whatever your pet topic is. Announcements, just like the usual. My men's group is tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central. So if you're looking for other guys to talk to or hang out, and it's not like this gushy mental health group where we break out the Kleenex and weep about our feelings. It's really cool guys that understand the issues that men are facing today in society, especially with social justice and feminism and like anti-male and patriarchy and all that. Male is almost more stigmatized now than I think gay was when I was growing up in the 80s. I never foresaw that I would have to like play the same defense against androphobia that I spent my life doing against homophobia. Which honestly, and this is in the rural South, pretty much Trump country, it really wasn't that bad. I had like mostly everybody was supportive. The ones who weren't were at least civil and respectable or respectful. Um, I was never gay bashed. I was never kicked out of my home. I was kicked out of my home plenty of times, but not for being gay. My mom used to like to use the cops as kind of discipline when I got to be a handful for her. I'd just be sitting at home, like randomly sit at home. Next thing I know, cops would show up and they're throwing my stuff out in the yard. That happened 3 or 4 times. I'd go spend the night with a friend or something. I'd be back the next day after she calmed down. I don't recommend parents don't do that to your kids. It didn't traumatize me, but it was unpleasant and unnecessary. There were better ways to handle, but I didn't have the communication skills and coping skills that I have now either. So I probably could have made it a little easier too. And she was doing the best she could. I know that. So anyway, the whole point of this is homophobia was the most they would do is every now and then talk about you behind your back or ostracize you. I remember one time after high school, I applied for a job at the car wash, the local car wash, and because I love that movie Car Wash, and it seemed like fun and just the easy way for somebody fresh out of high school to make money until I figured out what I wanted to do. And there was a guy from our school who was the manager there. So a lot of kids from our school applied there. So I applied and let him know I was from the school. And I never got hired. And I asked my good friend who was friends with him to like put in a good word or ask about me or something, and she did. And she came back and she told me, she said that he just cannot hire me because of the gay thing. It was a morale thing. He didn't want it to affect working around the other guys. He was trying to keep a certain team spirit there, and I'm like, God damn it, what a silly reason. I can wash cars. What a silly reason to keep someone out of a job. So little stuff like that. Nothing blatant. Very much not like they think it is today, where there's hordes of right wingers with pitchforks just waiting behind every building to attack them. That's mental health. That's hysteria and catastrophizing in their head. And I'd say hopefully they get some good therapy, but like nobody's getting good therapy these days because therapy's even going woke. You could go on Critical Therapy Antidote. That's a good organization that's highlighting the encroachment of social justice ideology into therapy. Now it's about your problems are linked to your positionality in society, and it's because you're a female or black or you're oppressed or you're a minority, and that your issues come from external sources. And if you're not a minority, you're being encouraged as part of your therapy to examine your privilege, which I would love to know where this privilege is that everybody thinks I have. I've never had privilege in my life. I've had possibly what's called intellectual privilege because of the giftedness. I learned really well. I did well in school, and learning comes easily to me. But everybody has strengths and weaknesses. Lord knows I have a ton of weaknesses to compensate for whatever my perceived advantages are. So I didn't grow up with this sense of privilege. I grew up kind of stigmatized. I was a misfit, oddball. I never was like shunted to the front of the line and given the key to the city like they think that men are. Um, of course, I was a minority. It technically, if you want to count it as that, but if you don't play the minority just right, like the role they want you to play, it doesn't even count. I'm seen more as white male presenting, and gays became cis gay after marriage. Remember, now they're part of the patriarchy. They got assimilated or into the white cis heteronormative patriarchal structure. So now, as a gay male, strike, white presenting, strike. I don't identify as white. Ethnically, I'm Cajun. And cis, whatever that means, that word doesn't even have it doesn't mean I'm not trans. I've like people are defined by what they're not now. Like look at that black non-Asian person. He's not Asian. It just seems like such a stupid concept. It's something that the trans need, which again in my generation they didn't, to like have something to contrast themselves to instead of just being themselves. If you're trans, just be trans. And like growing up gay, I knew I was gay. People tried to tell me all kind of things about it. It was a phase. It was demons. I was going to grow out of it. I need to find the right woman, whatever. I knew I had a better sense of the reality of it than anybody outside of me, particularly strangers. So I ignored that. Like, if I was gay, just go and be gay and do. I knew what gay was, and what I was doing with it. I didn't need other people to validate it there was a lot of ignorance around it. And so, if you're going to be trans, just go and be trans. Just live your life as a woman or whatever gender, socially transition, and it shouldn't depend on people affirming that for you if you know it inside of you. Like if that's your authentic, true identity, then just go be it. Why should it involve the rest of us having to do anything? That's what I don't understand. Like the whole cognition around it is reversed from coming up gay. And I don't know. I don't want to speculate too hard on the psychodynamics behind transgenderism. I just know it's very different than even 20 years ago, and very different from the trans people that I was friends with. Because we were kind of all one community at one point. Roughly, there were still factions and tension, like queer versus gay. But I thought we were all fighting for the same rights, which was encapsulated in the idea of marriage equality. So when we got that, all the people that suddenly didn't want marriage because they saw it as assimilating to the patriarchy freaked out. And all of a sudden, the marriage people became the enemy, and they had this whole new set of rights they were fighting for. And that came almost out of nowhere. But that wasn't in the community. Or if it was very underground, like festering. But I to me, I would have picked up on it at some point. Although with the autism, it's very possible. I was oblivious. But I was pretty observant when I was out and about. And there was much more harmony, and we seem much more aligned on the same political goals. Although there was Queer Nation, which started in 90 or 91, I think, and it was only in a few large cities, but they were very militant, anti-assimilationists, and they did like political theater and all these stunts. ACT UP was more centered around AIDS, but it was kind of militant and aggressive too. Like people frustrated at the end of the rope and not willing to wait for the political process, but demanding change right now because people were dying. So you had smatterings of that, but they didn't turn on the rest of the community. Like we weren't the targets of it like we are now. The gay community's kind of split, and the gays are seen as enemies of the trans. Like that's how different our goals are. And now, if you're not attracted, like if you don't want to date a trans person, it's transphobia. If you're gay and you only want to date other males, which is what gay is, it's reframed as transphobia. They used to try that with race growing up. Like if you weren't attracted to black people or Mexicans or Asians, what you were racist. That's not how attraction works, or preferences or desires. I don't owe you an explanation or a justification for why I'm attracted to what I'm attracted to. And it doesn't make it racist. And I feel the same way about transphobia. I think it's a lot of this is like luxury beliefs, too much, like very first world, too much time to sit around and fret about these little nuances that don't really matter when there's an actual life you have to live. Decadence, they call it. Like as societies progress and as they become too successful, they become decadent because you have all this luxury to sit around and fulminate ideas and trouble. A lot of it seems more power dynamics than anything else. Like they don't have they or in their mind they don't have the standard paths to power or status that most of us in society would attempt to use. So I mean I got to give them points on creativity. I don't find it very original. It's like a child's, like when your parents tell you no and the child comes up with other ways to manipulate to get what they want. Oh Lord, it's already been 20 minutes. I'm gonna do an hour today unless I have guests. And again, these solo sessions of mine, they're mostly for practice. I don't expect anyone to like marathon watch them on YouTube, but they're for me to kind of get a better feel for live streaming. And eventually, when I do have guests, I did very well yesterday with the guest. I'm really good when I have guests. It's just what to do the times that I don't. So I end up doing stuff like this. All right, let me get some more fodder from Twitter. Sometimes it only takes a tweet to spark a conversation. Where did you find these losers? What losers? Oh, videos. That's is that Michelle Visage? Oh, it's just a reaction video, GIF, kind of. Why do public intellectuals often descend into intellectual unserious? I don't know. I'm not a public intellectual. Okay, well, I'm not seeing a tweet that catches my attention. Which means back to the puzzle. Boop, 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 boop. I'm also trying different time slots. So I figured early Sunday afternoon just to see. Most people, or my day, like the Sundays were days to do things, Saturday and Sunday both, but most people didn't stay home on a Sunday. They did church, or like afterwards you go out to eat, you go visiting, you have family get-togethers. Sunday evenings we were at home. I think that's when the Magical World of Disney used to come on with Tinkerbell. She'd fly around the castle, and I liked it because you never knew what they were going to show. Sometimes it was a cartoon, sometimes it was a movie, like The Parent Trap or those Haley Mills movies. Sometimes it was like a serial where it would spread out over several weeks. Sometimes it's boring, and I'm like, damn, why am I watching this? Nothing exciting tonight. But back home, back in growing up, which was also back home, We had a TV with the rabbit ears and 3 channels. We didn't even have PBS. We had ABC, NBC, CBS, and you had to go out on the porch and turn the antenna pole to the town whose station signal you wanted to pick up. So if you wanted to watch CBS, you'd have to go turn it in one direction. If you wanted to watch NBC, you had to go turn it to that other city. And someone had to be inside to tell you when it came in clear. Otherwise, you'd have to keep running back and forth from outside and inside until the signal sharpened like you wanted it. And that was just normal. Like, that's how we watched TV. I didn't know any other way to do it. At other people's homes, they had remote controls and stuff, and eventually cable. And I think the TVs without the rabbit ears, with the ones with the remotes, would tune the channel automatically for you. But the rabbit ear one, you had to, the antenna was hooked up to it from the outside, and you had to go turn it. And we had the rotary phones. There was no call waiting, no caller ID, no voicemail. If you tried to call someone, they were on the phone, you got the busy signal, which I heard the other day because my friend has a landline. For the first time in like 10 or 20 years, I heard a busy signal. And long distance, you had to pay. And if you made a long distance call, your parents would freak out. Don't talk long. Why did you call New Orleans? That costs money. And you'd call the operator. You could call the operator. You could dial 1, or you could call the operator to hook you up. I think that was an extra charge. But the other thing you could do is you could call collect. So if you were at college and they had phone booths that you put quarters. It used to be dimes that it went up to quarters. If you didn't have the quarters, you could dial the operator. She'd call it for you, and she'd ask your mom, I have a collect call from Jeffrey, and do you accept? And my mom would say, yeah. And then it would get charged to her phone bill. And sometimes you would use it as a code, like, I'm going to call you collect and ask for, I don't know, Heather. And that means that I made it to my friend's house I was trying to go to or something. And so the operator would say, collect call from Heather. And do you accept? Mom would say no, but she knew what the message meant. So there was ways to get around that. And then also you had information, which was 411. And you could call and get phone numbers. Like if you wanted the number to your friend's grandma's or something, like say your friend's was at her grandma and you didn't know the number, and you call and they charge you, it was cheap, like 10 cents or 12 cents or something. And can I have the number to Mr. So-and-so? And the operator would either read the number out, or I think she'd connect you to a recording that had the number. Then the next innovation was in the 80s, at least in our family, early 80s, the cordless phones. And you could take them all over the house. You didn't have to have the big long cord that stretched from one side of the room to the other and all the way into the kitchen. And me and my siblings and our friends figured out very early we could go upstairs and tune into certain AM radio frequencies on our radios, and we could hear the neighbors' calls, and we could hear calls from inside the house too if we tuned into the right frequency. So we could listen in on our parents' calls or the neighbors' calls. So that was like months, if not years, of entertainment right there. And so that's why, like, computer privacy and stuff, like, is the government watching? I knew on those cell phones people could listen to it. I've never grown up with the expectation of privacy. I just assumed if somebody wanted to listen in, they'd probably be doing it. Or if the feds or FBI wanted to listen, they can do it. Nothing's probably going to stop them. So I was just careful what I said on the phone. Not that I was ever involved in anything sinister to worry about, but privacy was just never seemed like a realistic expectation to me with technology. So I didn't grow up with expecting too much privacy. Like even right now, if somebody wanted to hack me and read my emails or see what I'm doing on the computer, I'm sure they could. Well, I hope whatever y'all are doing, you're having a good Sunday. I'm today's my role playing group. We meet. We're doing first edition Dungeons and Dragons. That's the Dungeons and Dragons I grew up with during the Satanic Panic. I was the biggest D&D nerd. That was my like escape. We moved to this other little town closer to Texas. It was a larger town, and it was less Cajun. It was settled by people from the Midwest. It was more Anglo culture, very rural, agricultural. And I was a big misfit there. I stood out. And this was around puberty, so the gay thing was coming out, and Dungeons and Dragons. And so everybody thought I was a devil worshiper, which I am now, but I wasn't back then. And but that was my escape from like coping. I could escape into Dungeons and Dragons, and I could make friends by playing Dungeons and Dragons with other nerds. So I had a few nerd friends, and I was a geek. I got really into it, and so we're playing that edition, Dungeons and Dragons. In fact, we may have a few spots if we don't always have the number of players every week. So if you're looking to get involved in a game, I may have one open. Contact me. By the way, Primal, but the email, just to put it out there. I don't like to put it in print because of spam, but PrimalHex, PRIMALHEX at gmail.com or on Twitter. You can contact me there. And I need a theme song to play, like coming in and then going out, an outro and an intro. But I can't use copyrighted stuff either. So, I need to move my little window. It's probably pieces. We had Saturday, our dance party. Oh, so much fun. We're doing it every weekend. That was the best exercise, the most exercise I had, most activity I've had since probably Gay Pride of 2020 when they were having dance parties during COVID online. I danced for probably 2 hours straight. One of my friends had disco lights in his house, and he was dancing with the disco lights. You could see it on his Zoom. It was a lot of fun. I felt like I was back in the club. It was mostly disco. We're going to try to do 80s this weekend. But if you want to come and dance with us every Saturday night, I think we're going to start at 7 p.m. Central this time. Start a little earlier for any East Coasters. It was, I'm ready for it. I didn't even enjoy dancing that much at the clubs because a white boy, autistic, no rhythm. It very awkward. It looks like I'm dancing to a song in my head instead of what's playing on the loudspeakers. So I didn't do it much publicly, but in my room I don't care. It's just to move around. It was a lot of fun. So we'll have that coming up this weekend as well. And then I still have my gifted group for gifted twice exceptional, which is autism, ADHD, gifted, neurodivergence, that kind of stuff. So you're welcome to come and participate in that. And Tuesday, I'm going to be doing a podcast live at 11 a.m. Central on a YouTube channel called Trauma Type, which it's an exploration of, it's two things. I don't know if it's a combination of two things, but they have two focuses, trauma and personality typing. And I'm an ENTP. So I'm going to come talk about trauma and neurodivergence as an ENTP. So you're welcome to come hang out there live Tuesday, and you can chat in the comments or ask questions. I'd love to see any of you. This piece is in the way. And so that's coming up. What else do I have this week besides my regular stuff? I don't know. I'm going to be launching my websites. I got my license this weekend. I incorporated my business, and now I have to go through the licensing process, like city and state licenses, which is separate from the incorporation. And then once I have all of that cleared, I'll be ready to launch my website and start helping people. It's going to be mental health support, coaching. I'm a certified peer counselor for men, and any and all types of men, but I'm going to focus on gifted and neurodivergent men because that's just the population that I gravitate to and seem to be able to work well with. So don't feel like I won't help you if you're not that. That's just kind of my target focus thing. And so that's going to launch in the next few weeks. I'm very excited about that. This is my first time trying my hand at self-employment, and I'm excited to see what I can do with that. And I guess that's it. I don't have any other news. Most of my life is virtual, Zoom and stuff. I don't really have an active life outside of this, but although I'd like to get one, especially with hiking season coming up. If there's anyone in the Snohomish County area that wants to get together either for hiking, camping, and or board games, that's another hobby of mine. Cosmic Encounter, the 1991 Mayfair edition, my favorite board game ever. It was one of the games that inspired Magic the Gathering. It's you're an alien race. Each player has like a star system, and you're an alien race trying to take over the other players' star systems. And each alien, each race, has its own unique power to break or manipulate one of the rules of the game. So their slogan is "It's never the same game twice," and it truly is never the same game twice. I've played it thousands and thousands of times, and you never know what you're going to get. That you cannot predict this game. I've seen games last 10 or 15 minutes. I've seen them stretch out for 2 hours. It all depends. There's so many little combinations of moving parts. It seems nerdy and more difficult to learn than it is, but it's a very basic mechanic. And then most of the game's just a variation of that one. It's like war. You each put down a card, and the higher card wins. So there's modifiers and powers and strategies and things you can do to give your side the advantage. But basically, you're trying to play the higher card than your opponent. And they also have a game called Rex, which was made by the same people, and it's set in the Dune universe. And I have it, but I have not gotten it. It's really best with 5 or 6 players, and I have not been able to find 5 or 6 players that want to sit down and learn it and play it. And then I like a lot of co-op games too, where you work together. Like Pandemic's one of them. Yggdrasil's one of my favorites, co-ops. And then I love those hidden trader games, Mafia, Werewolf, Avalon, Resistance. We're like it's kind of like The Mole, which is one of my favorite TV shows. You have a team, like let's say you're playing with 6 or 7 people, and maybe 2 or 3 of you are spies or traitors that are secretly working together to keep the group from winning their missions. And you have to through collaborative dialogue and trying to work together, but the spies have to pretend like they're teammates and they're all trying to help you win. You have to try to figure out who's sabotaging the game, who the spies are. Lots of fun. We used to play we can play games online if there's enough interest. There's a service called Jackbox which has a lot of fun online games. There was a little Twitter group I was playing with for a while. We had a lot of fun doing that. So if you're in the Jackbox, you can get that going again too. 20 minutes. Bitty bitty bop. Oh, I can't say copyrighted stuff. Sorry. You didn't hear that. Okay, let me check Twitter. Maybe I'll have some inspirations. Oh, sometimes I bookmark stuff. Let me see if I. Guys, straight up shook. Oh, I want to see this. Hang on. I have to share my sound. Let's watch this video. Wait, let me. I saved it to watch later, and I forgot. Share sound.
Racism is still real in Georgia. I can't believe Bob
Racism.
tried me like that.
Racism.
What was it that you was asking me before you interrupted me with my dinner? Because I turned it all the way down.
Ooh, that dinner
for
looks
you.
good.
Okay, but what was it that you was asking
Oh, they asked him
me?
to turn his phone down.
Is there a reason why you would ask me to turn my phone down when there's a band playing music that I don't give a fuck about hearing?
He has a point there.
Do you think it's appropriate for you to ask me, a 33-year-old, a black man, to turn his motherfucking phone
See, but
down?
he's making it racial, and
You
it's
should know. You shouldn't say a motherfucking thing to me.
he doesn't know that they would not have asked the white person the same thing.
My hand shouldn't be shaking while I'm eating my
He's
motherfucking
shaking.
chicken.
That chicken is shaking. But he has a point.
Now,
If there's a
what you gotta do is
band
talk to
playing,
me
why would you
over
be
there
worried
and leave
about
me
a
the fuck
phone?
alone.
Ooh. He is tearing into that.
You gonna ask another black man to turn his motherfucking phone
It's
down
not
one
about
time
black.
soon.
It's about your phone was probably loud. But I don't know why they're asking you if there's a band playing. That's the part that throws me. Not the racism. I don't think this is. Oh, hang on. How'd I get out of here? Dang it. Where is, what am I doing? Hang on, I'm having a tech, a tech moment. There we go. What's happening? Where's my Zoom? Return to meeting. Where's, y'all, my Zoom screen disappeared. Oh, it got, I don't know what I'm doing. Need, which, where's my Zoom? Hang on. Something weird happened. I tried to share that video and I can't get back to the Zoom. It has it minimized at the bottom, but it will not pull the window up. Zoom. No. It has it on the toolbar minimized, and when I click it, it won't come up. Return to meeting. You are screen sharing. Stop share. There I am. What was that? I've never seen that before. I don't know. I'm trying to get back to my puzzle. No. Oh, am I sharing the wrong screen? Hang on. Stop share. Yeah, I think that's what it was. I didn't pick the right screen to share. Okay. It's just about 15 more minutes anyway. So tomorrow I think I will try to do it closer to the evening. I have the men's group at 4, so maybe I'll stream at 3, and then I can go to the men's group after. Because when I stream during the day, well, I mean, nobody showed up anytime, but so I don't really have a lot of data pattern to go off of. But my presumption is that when I stream during the day, it's probably less, people are less available to show up. Did I cover everything? Men's group, Zoom, podcast, D&D game, dance party, politics are still crazy. Well, maybe I'm out of topics, out of juice. Oh, I made that up. That's not even a song. So, haha, take that, copyright. Oh, I was looking at bookmarks. That's what I was doing. I don't want to talk bad about. No, just leave them alone. Is this Dylan? Ooh, this is good. Ascendant ideological regime is sturdy, if for no other reason than that for many, life would be so boring, capital letters, without the constant moral panics, manias, and waves of hysteria. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a luxury. It's luxury activism. They have no life, nothing else to worry about, and nothing better to do. And yet their discourse is so very, very boring. It really is. There's like one pattern to it, and once you see the pattern, it's everything is that one thing. It's like a comedian that tells the same joke over and over. I have no idea I don't think it's intellects that are being drawn to this, although I know very highly intelligent, smart, even gifted people, even though giftedness is one of their targets, that are falling for this stuff. Ooh, Eliza, I like her stuff. And it's like ooh, that's nice. That's really nice. Wow. Awesome. It made me forget what I was talking about. It's probably probably for the best. Okay. So much for Twitter. Well, I really have nothing else to say. I can't think of anything. That's why I need y'all to. I'm a social creature. I need other humans to interact with and build a conversation on so that it's not just one person. I mean, I could talk about mental health and autism, ADHD, what it was like to grow up gay, or what it was like to be Gen X, just in general. I could talk about Satanism. I could talk about rock music or any like music, any modern like 60s up to maybe not the last few years, but 60s through 2000s music, books. I could sit here and monologue about all of that, but I don't have really a reason to or a focus for it. That's why I prefer having guests, that the conversation can take on that life of its own. But I know y'all will come eventually. I know y'all just busy doing life and stuff. But okay, well, if I don't think of anything in the next 2 minutes, I'll just end it early today. It's Sunday. I got to get ready for my D&D game. I'm gonna check Discord real quick and Facebook. Maybe there's some inspiration there, or some conversation fuel. They call it social media for a reason. I'm trying to be social. D. I started getting into the debate, like the online debate culture, mainly the Crucible. I think Destiny does debates, and Vosh. But I don't know much about Destiny. I've seen it. I saw his debate with Milo, and I was embarrassed for Milo. I never did care for much for Milo. He seemed like a drama queen, and he didn't seem like he was trying to make points. He seemed like he was emoting and playing to the crowd, like trying to wring pathos from the crowd with pre-canned speeches. Destiny was like addressing the actual issues and making actual points. And then Vosh, I watched his debate with P.F. Young, and I was embarrassed for Vosh. I don't think he made himself look good, but he's on the spectrum, from what I understand. He kept making the point over and over that modern day Republicans are descended from the KKK, and then he corrected himself to say ideological descendants of the KKK, that there's a direct through line from modern conservatism, whatever that means, because there's several different like factions and flavors of conservatism. There's a direct through line to the KKK, and he doesn't have very many conservatives. That's like growing up as a gay person. I knew who had gay friends and who didn't by how distorted and demonizing their perspective of gay people were. And it's the same thing with people on the left and Republicans. I can tell who actually has contact with conservatives and Republicans versus who shuns them and keeps them out of their social sphere, like the people used to do with the gay people, by how much they demonize and how distorted, like how much of a cartoon enemy threat they see them, and how much they demonize them and distort what they actually believe. And Vosh is kind of like that. He has this cartoon army of sneering conservatives with pitchforks waiting to come after leftists. It's like persecution. I didn't have that when I was gay. I never felt like everybody was out to get me. I didn't really think about it at all. I just left my house and did my thing. And if I encountered like difficulty here and there, I dealt with it. But like I said, it was pretty tolerant. They had a gay bar in the city that we live near, so I mean, people knew that gay people existed. And as long as I always tried to be a respectable gay. Like I wanted to represent positive, like show that gay people could be positive contributors to society and that we have just as much to offer as other people, and we're not defined by our sexuality, our sexual attraction. And that's what I did. I focused on what I could bring to a situation. I didn't keep the focus on my sexuality. I was not all about I'm gay, I'm gay, I'm gay. I was about like, how can I integrate and be an ordinary person and contribute usefully to whatever the people around me are doing. And if it came up, I would talk about it, but I was the one raising the issue all the time. Okay, 5 more minutes and then I'll feel satisfied. I keep thinking of songs in my head, but I can't sing them behind copyright. So they'll just have to stay there. Chayu. Have y'all seen any good movies lately? I haven't watched. I do want to see The Whale, but I have not seen a good movie or even kept up with movies for like a decade at least. I do hear there's a Zach Galifianakis, whatever his name is, movie called A Funny Story, or A Funny Thing Happened, something like that. It's a mental health movie that I really want to see. And then somebody else told me about a sci-fi movie called Tenet, Tenet. It's the guy that did Inception, so I might check that out too. We have movie nights now and then too, so that's also a possibility. I love watching movies with people. Okay, well, guess I'll wind it down. So that's the Sunday. It was supposed to be the Sunday shuck and jive, because in case other people showed up, and then we'd have a conversation and go back and forth. But I'm gonna have to change it to Sunday solo session or something. Oh, I don't know. I showed this on Twitter. I started going live on Twitter. I forgot Saturday was Earth Day, so I wore my Earth Day, my Satanic Earth Day t-shirt. It's the Baphomet taking over the world. I like it. Which I don't care. I'm not looking for Satanism to dominate the world. It's Satanists are born, not made. You either are a Satanist or you're not. I couldn't convert people to it even if I did want to. So I want to make it available for those. You kind of have to find your own way into it. I don't proselytize or evangelize, because that's not the kind of religion it is. And I have no illusion it's going to dominate or take over the world, and I don't even think I'd want it to. But I do like the t-shirt, especially for Earth Day. Yay. Okay. Well, I feel like I've talked at y'all enough. I'm going to try it again tomorrow. Like I said, around 5 Central, around 3 my time. And then the men's group is after that at 6 Central, 7 p.m. Eastern. So you're welcome to participate in either of those. And then Tuesday mornings, my podcast on trauma and neurodivergence. And that'll be with Trauma Type on YouTube. That's his channel. There's a guy named Jeff. His name is Jeff as well. So we'll have 2 Jeffs talking about our trauma and all of our weirdness. So you can show up and check that out too. I'm just watching the clock. It's gonna bother me if I don't let it go to the hour. So, and then dance party Saturday. Y'all missing out. I'm telling you, if you're not, it's so much fun. I thought I would be sore and unable to move today, but I actually feel pretty good. It was a good sore. It was kind of like after a really good hike, which hopefully I'll get to do soon. But usually like 3 or 4 really good hikes is all it takes to get me back in shape, and I'm good after that. So I need to get those going. So again, anybody in the North Seattle, Snohomish, even Skagit County area, let's go hike or camp or just something fun outdoors. But something challenging like long hike or extended camping or rock climbing or rappelling or something. Just something active. Get me out of here. Please get me out of here. Okay. It's an hour, so thank you for being here and putting up with me, and I'll see you tomorrow at 5 p.m. Central. Take care. Yeah.